Hello everyone, welcome back to another Fallout 76 video. Let me present you 25 datamine facts from this weekend's AMA event over Reddit that everyone should know right now. Hello girls and guys, this last weekend was really exciting because we had a group of about 15 data miners in Reddit who were basically taking players' questions and then answering them as well as they could. Now, I was a bit skeptical at the beginning to cover this event, but after going through the questions and answers, I came to the conclusion that I really had to do this. Why? Because I learned a lot to start with, and I have also broken a few rumors or urban myths in Fallout 76. So I couldn't just go on without covering the event properly. So I have selected 25 datamine facts that everyone should know about. Anyway, we have a lot to cover, so let's begin. Did you know that charisma in Fallout 76 has a cap? I surely didn't before this. I thought it was just like strength where you can go past 30, 40, 50 and it still adds up to your melee damage and inventory space. Now, the data miner Ra has mentioned that he tested this and he went to 39 charisma without any effects. Buying something for 1 cap or 1,000 caps was pretty much the same as with 25 charisma. So there we go. Now you know what you need to go for when you are dealing with bargains. 25 is the maximum. I've always heard that charisma could affect your rewards when you complete events, like there is an increased chance to get rare rewards, but that's not true. Even if you manage to cap it at 25, you won't get better rewards from events. All charisma can do for you is give you a little bit more caps and experience gain from completing events. So don't worry about what's your charisma, because there is really no increased chance to obtain rare rewards from any event, as the data miner Waffle mentioned in his post. One of the player questions that really intrigued me is about the public event queue. How does it work exactly? Well, one of the data miners said that it works based on player difficulty and cooldown. These are the two main criteria to judge or determine which event is going to pop up next. In practice and in game, this means that the system tries to balance out the number of events that exist in the public category. Like, if Running Fever happened twice, then it's likely that one Violent Night will pop up soon because it hasn't happened in a while. Also, in terms of player difficulty, the system tries to balance things out between easy, medium, and hard events. So I do think that this system works pretty well, but it's just the frequency that is screwed up right now, and Bethesda has already admitted the issue, and in patch 14 we will have an increase of public events. So all we have to do right now is wait a little bit longer, and hopefully this issue will be fixed and we will now find way more events as it used to be before patch 13. I must admit that this point is one of my favorite ones, because everywhere I go over Reddit, in Discord servers, even in private messages, people always told me that luck can increase your chances to find better legendary items. In the end, they are all wrong and they couldn't be further from the truth. In fact, luck doesn't affect the legendary type or quality in any way possible. That means that even if you play with over 20 luck, like me with my unyielding build, you will not get an extra or increased chance to get better legendaries with 3 stars or with effects that you would like to. Even in terms of a chance to get a weapon or armor piece, luck doesn't have anything to do with that. All luck can do for you is determine the durability that you will have on your dropped items. And that makes a lot of sense because I usually pick legendary items with a lot of durability. So with that being said, this rumor has been solved, and guys, luck will not increase your chances to get better legendaries. That's it. As I just mentioned, luck can determine the durability that you will get from dropped items, especially legendaries. And it is totally possible that you will get different durability bars in identical items. I saw several questions about this matter, and it's good to know that you can get really different durability bars in the same type of item, exact same level, exact same type, and the durability is just different. That's part of your luck. So if you want items with a better durability, maybe you should be increasing your luck right now. Oh my, this point is by far my favorite one because the information that the SCHORCHEBEAST Queen scales is globally known and accepted by the community. I've seen it so many times over Reddit, over again Discord servers, and even in game. People tell me that, hey, the Queen scales depending on how many players join, on their levels, and I was always skeptical, to be honest with you, because it really feels like the more people join, the quickest the Queen goes down. So I was very doubtful about it, and now data miners have confirmed that the SCHORCHEBEAST Queen doesn't scale in any way possible. So she always has the same HP, the same defenses, the same mechanics, skills, everything. She's basically a bullet sponge, and depending on how much damage people can make, it can go down faster or slower, but that's about it. So the next time someone tells you that the Queen scales, you surely have an argument and solid proof here that she doesn't. This point is also very interesting, and another urban myth inside of Fallout 76 about the Queen being stronger or having more defenses when she's flying. I actually had the chance to test it several times, and the data miners are right. She doesn't have increased defenses when she's flying. It's just that your fall off damage from your weapon depends a lot from weapon to weapon, and when she's flying, she's much further away than you might think. That means that your bullets will do less damage. As you can see here, I'm doing 7 damage from far away, then 13, 14 damage mid-range, and the damage will increase as I get closer and closer. And she's on the floor, so when she's flying, these stagger or fall-off damage is increased way more, and that's why you do way less damage when she's flying, plus you will miss a lot as well. So everything together means that everyone does less damage, and that's completely normal. Recently, I've seen several queens going down really quickly, and by that I mean under 10 seconds, which is quite strange and scary at the same time. I started thinking that maybe there is a new exploit or a glitch, or maybe even a hack, which is actually the case. Data miners have now confirmed that when queens go down that fast, it's most likely because there is someone using hacks to do an incredible amount of damage and take down the queen in just a few seconds. Well, at least now I have my answer and I know what's going on. Alright, this is the last point about SCHORCHEBEASTS, and someone has asked the data miners if SCHORCHEBEASTS in Fallout 76 are using the same dragon AI from SKYRIM, which they answered no, the SCHORCHEBEASTS do not use the dragon AI from SKYRIM. Now, I have played this game a long time ago. I don't necessarily remember how the dynamics and the mechanics of the dragons work anymore, but I do remember that there was a tier system with the dragons, and different dragons would have different skills and resistance too, which doesn't happen in Fallout 76. SCHORCHEBEASTS are basically all the same, and they have like 2 skills and that's about it. So this one makes proper sense. Display cases have been recently added to the game. We can now display all sorts of random items like junk, armor, weapons, even magazines and bubble heads. And it seems like power armor display cases are part of the game files right now, which suggests that they might be added to the game sooner than we think. Well, for everyone who wants to display their power armor pieces, this is really great news, and it shouldn't be a surprise for anyone when Bethesda decides to make it live. I've recently heard that third-party websites for Fallout 76, as well as random people, are trying to sell legacy weapons and legendaries all over the place, such as over eBay, and they're charging ridiculous prices like 70 euros or $80. It's just crazy, but this is probably because you can no longer take items from the devs room, as this data miner mentioned here. Well, all I can say here is that this clearly explains the rise of prices in legacy and legendary items altogether. After all, they cannot resupply themselves since the devs room is now closed. Just don't buy these items, guys, because you are just feeding exploiters, glitchers, cheaters, and I don't think that's something you want to do. It seems like there is a really complex system behind the legendary effects system. For example, Bloodied and Junkie seems to be based on some sort of multipliers. GEEKSTREEK mentioned that for Junkie, for example, there is a 50% multiplier chance, whatever that means. For Bloodied, it depends from weapon to weapon, and there is also certain effects like Two Shot that can affect the durability and accuracy of the weapons. That's always great to know, in my opinion. Talking about legendary effects, this is actually an old one, and I've heard it from different sources, so it must be true. And in this case, I found it from a player that mentioned it, and I thought, hey, this is a great opportunity to share this information as well. There are 4th and 5th star legendary effects in the game files already, so it will go live at some point. We just don't know when exactly. Hopefully it will be with the Wastelanders DLC. Another point that really catch my attention: in general, your event performance will matter. I have always wondered if it really matters when you are doing an event like Running Fever and there is a progress bar. Does it matter? Do you get different rewards if you do better or worse? And it seems like yes, that's the case. So the better you do, the more rewards you can get, or at least achieve a higher tier in terms of rewards. What you can get is, however, random, so that's probably why most people don't really notice a difference. And since Fallout 76 rewards are not so clear in game, there is plenty of room for speculation here. Have you ever heard of these super rare outfits that you can get from different regions in Fallout 76, like the Mire in particular? I'm not talking about rare costumes that you can pick up from the world, like the Asylum colored uniforms, like this pink one that I found. I mean ones that you get very, very rarely from certain events. Well, now you know the drop rate for them is 0.03%. Yes, that is painful, and that's why they are so rare, because most people don't have them. Even if you try to actively farm events, the chance to get one of these are just minimal, that it's like a miracle to even see one in game. I haven't seen most of these outfits in game ever. I'm using Wikipedia photos for this video, just so you can see how rare it is. Maybe one day I will get some of these. I'm trying at least. Going with the rear train on outfits, the Urban Scott Armor Mask has a 0.01% chance to drop from certain events, like Running Fever and One Violent Night. I got mine long ago, I think 2 months in after the game got released, and I have always wondered how the hell I got it. Several people used to ask me in the past, and I had no answer for them. I really didn't know, but now I think I do, because I do Running Fever and One Violent Night as much as I can whenever I see them, so I guess it was from one of these two events. There are a few more that can drop it, but I never do it. Like distinguished guests, I did that event like twice in my entire life. So there you go, this is one of the rarest hats, masks in game, and the drop rate is just wow. It's very, very minimal, but hey, I'm proof that it can perfectly happen one day. Well, this one is quite obvious, and I've been telling this to people who ask me if there are any other mounted hats available than, well, the 11 ones that I've made a guide on. And the answer is no. Even though you can see many others in the C.A.M.P. build mode, you cannot get them in game right now. I saw someone mentioning this in the AMA post of Reddit, but right now I can't find it anymore. I'm not sure if it got deleted or if it's written in another way. But this is true nonetheless, so if you don't know how to get the 11 available ones right now, feel free to check my channel. I have 2 complete guides on how to get every single one of them for Wild Appalachia and Nuclear Winter DLCs. If you are a builder, then this point is the highlight of the entire video for you. Someone asked if the C.A.M.P. item use calculated by the number of polygons like it used to be, or it currently is, in Fallout 4. And Antin Ra answered we wanted to say yes, but because they can manually change the cost of specific C.A.M.P. items, that is not really the case. I mean, by default, each item has a certain amount of budget, but for many other items, they manually change it to make it more or less budget consuming. In other words, it doesn't really matter how many polygons an item has. Sometimes it's just based on what Bethesda adds to each specific item. This point is also part of the list of questions I have for a very long time. It seems like cryptids have some areas or locations that they might spawn more often than others. That's because they are part of random events, and these exist in certain locations only. There are over 400, as dataminer Sergeant Moss mentioned, and it includes the Abyss Bunker, the Pumpkin House, and even the White Springs Golf Course, as strange as that might sound to you. The Suppressor and the Tenderized perks in Charisma have a little bit more detail than you might think. For example, the Suppressor perk can stack up to 40%. At rank 3, you get 30% for 2 seconds, but if you keep hitting the same target, it will easily go to 40%. Now, when it comes to the Tenderizer, it does not stack, which means that the rank that you have in your perk is basically everything you're going to get. At rank 3, you will get 7% more damage over 10 seconds after you attack, and that's it. It doesn't stack, you won't get any further than that. Do you feel like poison damage has been increased since Vault 94 was released? Well, then you're right, because it actually did. With all the Marlocks inside Vault 94, Bethesda decided to make it more challenging by increasing the poison damage. Now, we don't know how much it was increased, but his data miner confirmed that it surely was, and then it carried over to everything else in the world of Fallout 76. Well, that's a shame for us, because now we have to endure extra poison damage from everything across Appalachia. Have you been trying to get your plasma grenade plants? They are really, really rare, and they can drop from over 10 events out there. The drop rate is really low, just like the rare outfits that I mentioned earlier. It's about 2% chance to get it from these events, as Lady Devrim mentioned in the AMA Reddit post. Well, I still don't have mine, and I probably won't be getting it anytime soon. The stealth system in Fallout 76 is quite complex as well, and as dataminer Gilp1 mentioned, there seems to be one level of invisibility created by the stealth boy, and it doesn't really matter how much perception or agility you have, it seems to have no effect in detecting that same stealth person. Now in nuclear winter this doesn't really apply, but in adventure you're supposed to detect people easily if you have high perception or agility, but that doesn't seem to apply to stealth boys, at least for now. If you have ever paid attention to ghouls, you probably noticed that some of them dress in a very peculiar way. They wear different outfits, and some of them are, well, not so common to find compared to most ghouls. Now, someone over Reddit asked if it is possible to find the pre-war military and fireman outfits that you can see in ghouls. And the answer is yes and no. For the fireman outfits you can find a few ones, they are pretty rare as well, but for the pre-war military, that's not possible. They don't exist in game, therefore you cannot get them, but hey, there are many other alternatives if you want to go the military way. The last fact is not from the data miners, it's from myself. I found this recently, a few days ago, where I got stuck between rocks in nuclear winter. This happens sometimes where you just can't move or jump, and I found a way to unstuck myself without any glitches or exploits. All you have to do is place your camp near yourself and then attempt to place a foundation below or very close to yourself. It might take a little bit because most of the time you will see it red, but if you manage to do it, the foundation will go below you and then you'll be able to get out of the place you are stuck and keep going, keep killing, and maybe even win that match. So, do you feel a little bit more educated about Fallout 76? I surely do. I never expected to learn so much and get this much value out of the AMA data mining event last weekend. It surprised me. I wasn't expecting to be like this, but I'm surprised in a good way. It's totally worth your time, so feel free to check the post. I'm leaving the link down below, and the merit is all from these data miners. They digged all the information I just read, I went through it, I selected the points that I think are more important, and I'm presenting them to you guys so you can keep up with the game. They're really helping the community and taking us to a next step. Thumbs up to all of them. Anyway, that's going to be everything for this video. Thank you so much for watching until this point, and if you are new around and you enjoyed what you saw, feel free to click in the subscribe button below to help me grow. I also have a Patreon page for anyone who would like to support me even further. The link is also down below as usual. That's all. Thank you guys one more time for all your support. I will see you very, very soon. Adeus. Bye bye.